Okay, so what are we making?
Sumac lemonade. These are berries from staghorn sumac. And they're actually drupes. There's a difference. But berry has multiple seeds. This only has one seed. Berries have kind of a juicy covering. This doesn't. This has more of a skin with hairs on it that contain malic acid and some other acids.
Yes, that's what I need.
We figured that the amount that we have there should take a little over a quart of water. And so we're going to put this in. Now I need somebody to time me.
I don't have a watch.
Okay, I've got a watch. Okay. So we'll let you stir.
Okay. Is that just room temperature water?
This is room temperature water, and this is called the 2-minute stir method. 2 minutes is all you really need to do to get the flavoring off and into the water. 2 minutes will seem like a long time.
How would you describe the flavor of sumac?
Sumac lemonade is lemony. That's, in fact, it can be used as a substitute for regular lemon juice in your cooking.
Oh, so you're not going to actually add lemon to it?
No. No.
So we stir it actively for 2 minutes,
For 2 minutes.
and then you
1
run
minute
it
is
through.
up, so that's how long 1 minute is. It doesn't sound long, but once you start stirring it, it does get kind of long.
Well, I see the water changing.
That's important.
And then you run it through a colander and a cheesecloth.
We are running it through a flour sack dish towel here, and we're simply straining it into this pitcher, and then we'll sweeten it to taste after that. But the flour sack dish towel is fine enough that it can filter out all bits of sediment from there, as well as the drupes that have the flavor.
Probably throw a rubber band around it to even tie it.
We could, if I could remember where I put my rubber band. Okay.
Just an idea for our
5,
YouTubers.
4, 3, 2, 1, stop. And pouring out of there. I'll try to hold this in place if you can.
And I'll try to pour it without spilling it.
That would be important since I'm sitting here and I only have one pair of pants. Yeah, it's not going to have all the color, but it should have some of the flavor that we want. Okay, that's good. Now, if you would help me pick up the corners so this doesn't fall back down in there, and just dump it right in there. Don't even pour it. Just drop the whole thing in there.
Okay.
Now, what we're going to do is to sweeten this to taste. Normally, for 3 quarts, I would use 1 cup of sugar. So right now we have a little less than 1.5 cups, which is about half the amount. I didn't say that right. 1.5 quarts, which is half of 3 quarts. So if we use half a cup of sugar, that should be adequate.
Okay. And you can sweeten it with other sweeteners.
I've got one right here. This is dry. Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate it. And what were you saying?
You could sweeten it with other sweeteners like honey or maple or
we
agave.
had one girl that was diabetic and in our class, and she used sweet and low. It's something that I don't recommend because it's been shown to cause cancer in laboratory.
I guess I was thinking more like honey or agave or...
We did try it with honey, and we used honey for about a year, and then we focused simply on the sweetener, and we found out that sugar was still better than honey to most kids' taste.
Okay.
Not adult taste, but kids' taste. These were 7th graders that I did the 20 years of research to try to pin down all the variables. Okay, that is 1/2 cup, and we're going to need our friend the wooden spoon to finish. Now this doesn't appear to be beautiful and red, And part of the reason is that the pigment breaks down with time. Although she kept these simply dry, when I want to preserve these and use them years later, up to 4 years later actually, what I do is to get the droops clean as we did in there. And
Did you just rinse them in a colander?
oh no. Anytime you rinse them off, you
Take away the flavor.
take away the flavoring. So what we did was to put them in the strainer here, and we shook it back and forth, and so
Get
the
bugs and-
dried flower parts and any bugs, but
Okay.
the bugs didn't go through. So anyhow, like I said, I've kept it up to 4 years or so. I vacuum sealed the droops, the clean droops that are just shaken back and forth in a kitchen strainer, and it's still active and it still makes red if you freeze it. You know, but when you have oxygen getting to it and it's dry like that, you lose a lot of the color.
So there's no squeezing the berries, there's no nothing.
No, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
So you
And
just
what if you leave it longer than the 2-minute stir? Can you just let it steep in the fridge overnight,
it's not
or
as good, and actually the 3-minute stir is just the right amount to get out the flavoring. And if you go beyond that, then you start breaking down. The droops inside have little tiny seeds. I mean, the droop is actually a seed covering with a few hairs on it, and then it's got the flavors in that. And in the seeds themselves, they have tannins, and the tannins makes it bitter. So if you go 3 minutes or more, you get some of that bitterness. And
so 2 to 3 minutes is your magic window?
2 minutes is the magic.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
2 minutes. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, 1 minute isn't long enough. 2 minutes works just fine. 3 minutes is too long.
Okay.
Okay, now we need the lid for this, so we can pour it
Oh crap.
without any problem. I think it's in
I can grab it.
the other room. Blue and yellow. Yep. And we should have, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And your name again?
Chad.
Thanks, Chad. Mike.
Mike, good to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you for everything.
So that raspberry lemonade that you made, did you use actual fresh squeezed lemonade for that, or
Oh,
did
yeah,
you use
yeah,
sumac
yeah.
for that?
Make the lemonade yourself.
So what about sweetening the sumac juice with the raspberry syrup?
I'm smiling because that sounds wonderful. I think you've got something there. So now we're going to need to taste this and find out if it's okay or if it needed something. So I happen to be a lucky person because I've got one of these nearby and I can taste it. But I brought a whole bunch of paper cups and I haven't seen where they went, so I'm going to see if this is okay or not good. It's too syrupy, too sweet. It's got a nice sourness to it that comes on afterwards. Not the best I've ever had, but it's okay.
So it might be good to add the sugar a little bit at
And
a
the
time.
raspberries, you're right. I think it would make a difference. Yeah, we used to say sweeten the taste, and then, of course, I would set out a sugar bowl and spoons for the kids, and that was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Offer sugar and they will take it.
yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, incredible. So,
I know my mom called